the athletic director of UC San Diego, Earl Edwards, here to give us a pretty periodical update on the status of the athletic department. Well, Earl, of course, UC San Diego has been in the news in a really good way the last few weeks with the discussion here on campus, and it's something you and I have talked about, of course, over and over, the possibility now, but now we've got a target date, 2013-2014, for UC San Diego to head into Division I. Just as kind of an overarching update, as an entry point for this interview, what was decided the last few weeks? Where are we standing right now?
Well, where we're standing right now, as you know, we've got the feasibility report that was done by the Athletic Staffing Consulting Organization, essentially looking at two issues, adding football and potentially moving to Division I. It suggested that we not look at adding football, which we won't do, and looking at moving to Division I, and particularly looking at the Big West as a conference for us. Because one thing that's different now versus in the past, if you are going to move to Division I, you have to have a conference to go into. So the Big West is the conference that we're looking at. So where we are right now, we're doing a lot of educational and research, looking at Division I education from the standpoint of where the university is, the students in particular, and I'm pleased to say that the Associated Students, the governing body for the student groups on campus, passed a resolution a month or so ago, basically stating that we should move forward next year with looking at moving to Division I with a referendum. So that was a big plus for us. I'm in the process of having conversation with the Big West to get a better sense as to whether we will be accepted into the conference or not, and we should have an answer for that sometime during the summer.
From the Big West perspective, what would be the hurdles? Obviously, you are a like institution, and that's something we've discussed, to so many of the schools that are currently populating the Big West. From their standpoint, what would be a reason they wouldn't want to let you in?
Well, the main thing right now is that they're very positive in terms of what we would bring to the conference. When you look at the San Diego market, the academic standard of our university, and then also when you look at the overall success of our program. So they know we have a good program, and it would be a plus for them as a conference. The main thing right now is that a month or so they accepted the University of Hawaii, which brought them to 10 schools. So the question is whether they want to go to 11 or potentially 12 if there's another school, and the impact that that has on the scheduling. So that's the major issue from the conference standpoint. For us, the other issue would be the financial side, and that is to see if we can get a referendum passed that'll put us in a position where we would be financially stable when we make the move to Division I.
Okay, so you talk about a referendum. That would be a student vote, and presumably to increase the athletic fee that each student would pay. Would that be part of it?
Yes, the way the budget works right now, the students pay a fee, an athletic fee. That's about 90% of our current budget. We would have to significantly increase that to move to Division I, so we'll have to put it in the hands of the students to vote on that. We haven't come up with any specific numbers yet because we still need to do research on what it would actually cost to make that move. The report that was put out suggested that we needed to go from a $6 or $7 million budget to around 12. We need to make sure that that's a good number, and I say make sure it's a good number in the sense of there's things that's not factored into the report, i.e. the cost for personnel. As you know, there's a lot of talk about tuition increase, so we need to look at a number of different things before we come up with the final number would be for a referendum, but it's up to the students to pass that referendum in order for us to make that move.
But just ballparking with the numbers that you're telling me, it would sound like maybe, not locking you in any way down, that maybe about a doubling of the student athletic fee. If you're going from a $6 to a $12 million budget, approximately, that sounds like approximately a doubling of what each student would pay?
Yeah, I would say that's, again, an approximate number. We need to really sit down and go through the numbers and see what makes sense. But bottom line is it would be quite significant, the increase, if we're going to make the move and to have a successful program. And I'm not inclined to make the move and not be financially set to do that.
Overall, you mentioned how the student government is responding very favorably. When you guys are just going out talking to kids on campus, what's the general vibe you're getting back?
Well, the general vibe, and I'm talking about the governing body in particular, has been quite good, because when we talk about the resolution that was passed, and I don't know the exact numbers, but there was about 30 associated students that had to vote on it, and it was like a 25 to 4 or 5 vote in favor of it. So that's been quite favorably. We haven't done a survey or had a lot of conversation with the campus in general, so that's something else that we would need to do as we move forward.
Right. One of our favorite topics I know that we always address is student spirit in athletics here on campus. Upgrading or getting the students more engaged, more involved. When you talk about a Division I switch, is this a chicken and egg situation where do you need to go D1 to get the students fully energized in sports on campus, or would getting students more fully energized in sports on campus help propel the department to Division I?
I personally think it's the first one, because when you look at our program now, when we look at our Division I programs, i.e. men's water polo, men's volleyball, when we play the UCLAs and the Stanfords and the USCs in various sports, we get a great turnout. And so for that reason alone, I think the move to Division I, where we would be competing against like institutions as well as recognized institutions, the attendance would increase because of that.
What's the biggest challenge overall as you look at this? Would it just be the challenge of competing, of upgrading to take on these Division I schools? Is it the red tape of making this happen? Is the conference the ultimate deal breaker? What do you think? What's the biggest challenge here?
Well, I think the biggest challenge really is the timing of the whole Division I conversation. Timing in the sense that prior to Hawaii joining, when they only had 9 members, I thought we were in a very good position because we would be the 10th team. So I think the timing is a big issue, and the other piece is with the economy being what it is and what's going on with education in general, to be talking about increased fees in athletics at this time is probably not the best time. But the bottom line is the timing is really being dictated by the students, and the students have said we want to move to Division I, so we're responding to that. So really I think the issue is just the biggest challenge is the timing.
All right, before we wrap things up, I want to give you a chance to brag on your athletic department. It's been another exciting year. I mean, I think about women's soccer and the trip to Louisville and the opportunity to participate in the national championship game. Men's tennis has been on a ridiculous roll, right? Softball's been outstanding, and of course baseball is gunning for another trip to the postseason, and knock wood, another trip to the College World Series. It just seems like as we go through this survey show week in and week out, we're talking about athletic excellence on this campus.
Yeah, and that athletic excellence is clearly a reflection of the type of students that we recruit at UCSD and the quality of coaching that we have. And both of those that are at a very high level. There's consistency. There's a lot of pride in what we do. We also focus on the positive experience of the student athlete. And I think when you put all those things together, it just keeps the ball rolling. So we're very, very fortunate because, as you know, in athletics, things can turn rather quickly.
Yes, they can. They can turn on a dime. So let's enjoy the sunshine while we've got it. Athletic Director Earl Edwards, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.